Hello, my name is Tammy Medlin, and I'm the local history librarian here at the Wilson County Public Library, and I would like to welcome you to Historic Churches of Wilson County. Now, before we begin talking about individual churches, I would like to point out that all the photos you will see, or most of the photos you will see in this video, are part of the Charles L. Kuhn collection here in the Wilson County Public Library in the local history room, and they all date circa 1925. So these churches, if they are still active, are going to look a lot different than they do now. This is Anon Missionary Baptist Church, and it was organized in about 1913. And in September of that year, a windstorm swept through the community and uprooted a lot of trees. Well, the landowner, Miss Lucy Williams, donated these uprooted trees. Church members actually hauled the trees off her land, hauled them to the mill, and then hauled the timber from the trees to the church site. And they were actually got enough lumber from that to frame the building and put some of the weatherboarding on the outside. It got electric lights in 1929. It got Sunday school rooms in 1948, and they added a vestibule and stained glass windows in 1953. You can see the windows are basically 4/4, 4 small panes at the top, 4 small panes at the bottom. There are a lot of windows that is for light, because I'm pretty sure they had oil lamps. They did not have electricity when they first built this church. And it is built up off the ground. That lets the air circulate and keep it a little bit cooler. And the church is built cool, and the church has high ceilings because air rises and cools it a little bit there too. You have to remember, no electricity. That means there's no air conditioning, there's no electric lights, and this church was probably one room before they added the Sunday schools. So you were going to see a lot of churches in this video that look similar to this plan. This is Aspen Grove Free Will Baptist. It is near Saratoga. Now, originally in the 1850s, there was a church organized called Pleasant Hill that was 3 miles east of Saratoga. And the church actually moved in 1887, and its name was changed to Aspen Grove because of all the aspen trees that were on the new church lot. So this building dates probably to the late 1800s. It had oil lamps until 1937 when it was wired for electricity, so it's a couple of years behind Anon Missionary. 1939 Sunday school rooms were added, and there was a new sanctuary that was built in 1951, and this old one was converted into Sunday school rooms. This is Black Creek Methodist Church. It was organized in 1873, and the building was constructed in 1875 out of lumber donated by John Barden and his wife Rachel. They used it until a brick church was built in 1951. So again, we can see a lot of windows, we can see a sloped roof, we can see built up off the ground, and we can see high ceilings. And again, it's not going to have electricity. The pews were probably made out of wood. They weren't very comfortable. You're using oil lamps, probably coal or wood stoves. So going to church back then was a lot different than going to church now. This is Buckhorn United Methodist. It was organized in 1856. The original sanctuary was made out of logs. This building was constructed in 1885. It was located near the intersection of 581 and 42 in Spring Hill Township, and it was demolished in 1948. This is Evansdale United Methodist. It was located in a community of the same name that at one point had a school, a store, and several houses. It was constructed in 1914, and later a community building and a parsonage were added. It is located in Stantonsburg Township, and I will say the first thing you notice about this church is the porch and the large columns that are holding up the roof to that porch. This is Healthy Plains Primitive Baptist. It was located in Oldfields Township on Highway NC 581. It was organized in 1872. But this structure dates to later, probably about 1900, and there was a cemetery next to the church. This is Lamb's Grove Pentecostal Holiness. It is located in Crossroads Township on State Road 1103 near Lucama. It was organized in 1914. There have been some changes since this photo was taken. Later, a large vestibule was added, electricity, restrooms, and stained glass windows. But here again, you can see the 4/4, and originally it probably was a one-room building. That was common for that time period. This is Little Rock Free Will Baptist Church in Lucama. It was organized in 1871. They got their first building in 1884. This one dates to about 1900. Later on, they did add Sunday school rooms. 1958, the sanctuary was modernized. They added a vestibule and it added some stained glass windows. But in this picture, you can see they still have a few enhancements even back then. They've got shutters for the windows. Makes them a little bit fancier than a lot of the churches we've seen with just plain windows. And you can see the antique car out front. And if you're looking at a photo, a lot of times stuff like that, cars, vehicles that are parked outside of it, people and the clothes they're wearing, they can actually help you date a photo. This is Marsh Swamp Free Will Baptist Church, located in Old Fields Township, named for a stream near the church. The building dates to about 1885. A wing was added to either side in about 1920. It doesn't look like this anymore. In 1947, it got a brick veneer. Bricks were put on the outside. 6 Sunday school rooms were added, a baptistry, restrooms, a kitchen, stained glass windows, and then another new addition was added in 1972, 1973, and probably more since then. But when this photo was taken, the outside looks kind of plain, but it still looks nice because the church was fairly new. It would have been less than 10 years old at that time. It's obviously freshly painted. All in all, a pretty nice photo. This is Melbourne Free Will Baptist. It was organized in 1880. It got its first building in 1894 and a new building in 1923. So the second building is actually the one here in the photo. And again, you can see the 6/6 windows. 6 at the top, 6 little panes at the top of the window, 6 panes at the bottom of the window. This is Moore's Primitive Baptist, located in Gardner's Township. They think it was built by Andrew Jackson Moore circa 1870 and named for him, and he was the founder and the first pastor. It was one room. It had 6/6 windows, and it was heated by wooden stoves, and there is a cemetery located next to the church. This is Noble's Chapel. It is located around Sims and Rock Ridge. It was organized by people in that area around 1900. The building dates to 1906. Its first pastor was J.W. Nobles, and he was pastor there from 1900 to 1904, 1908 to 1910, and 1928 to 1930. It did change a little bit over time. In 52 and 53, a porch vestibule were added, and a brick veneer was put on the outside, and in 1961, an education wing was added. This is Pleasant Grove Church in Old Fields Township. It was built on the site of an earlier log church called Winborn Meeting House. Again, it is a single room, and a kitchen, Sunday school wing were later added after this photo were taken. Again, you can see the simple windows, the plain door, wooden room, probably heated with coal or wood-burning stoves, and illuminated with oil lamps. This is Saratoga Christian Church. It was organized around 1910. The building was constructed in 1918. It was built on the cruciform plan, which basically means it was built, laid out in the shape of a cross, straight down the center with wings out to the side. By 1940, it had 50 members, and in 1956, the building was enlarged. This is Scott's Primitive Baptist in Crossroads Township. It was founded in 1872 on land given by the Scott family, which is where it got its name. The building dates to around the same time period, so late 1800s. According to tradition, it was built by the congregation. You can see the plain windows. You can see there's 2 doors at the front. 1970, the interior was remodeled, and in 1980, new siding was put on the outside. This is Upper Black Creek Primitive Baptist. It was organized in 1832, although we think this building was constructed in approximately 1873. This is Upper Black Creek Primitive Baptist in 2010. The church is now brick and a column porch has been added. If you are interested in photos of North Carolina historic churches, including all the ones used in this video, please visit digitalenc.org. As previously mentioned, all photos except the one from 2010 used in this video are part of the Charles L. Kuhn collection, which is housed in our local history room. If you have interest in African American churches in Wilson County, please join us on February 20th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. here in the main library in the assembly room for a presentation by Lisa Henderson, Righteous Progress, the African American Church in Wilson County, 1800 to 1950. Lisa will give a second presentation, Researching Roots, African American Genealogy Tips, on Saturday, February 22nd at 2 p.m., again in the assembly room here at the main library. If you would like more information on either program, please contact me at tmedlin@wilsoncounty.nc.gov or call 252-237-5355, extension 5029. Thank you for watching Historic Churches of Wilson County. Before we end, I would like to offer my thanks to Mr. J. Robert Boykin III for his help in finding information on the churches in this video.